Ta-da. Oh yeah, it's like I'm back, like I never left. You know, how y'all doing out there? Yeah, real quick, people, real quick, because they say time is money, but I don't know if money is time. That's what we're doing. Check this out. I gotta talk about this because it's kind of like it's relative to it's no secret that I love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I love music, and actually have an affinity for good music. I love hip hop, and so I always talk about how, especially in things like cryptocurrency, how the young people, are going to be the ones who really take charge and grab things by the helm to create a revolution, right? It's going to be in the hands of the youth with the help of the sages of old, with the help of the predecessors, with the help of the elders, right? The youth need guidance, right? It's applicable here with this music situation because, like in hip hop, you got individuals who, I mean, it's just so many. It's a lot different than it was 40 years ago, 30 years ago, even 20 years ago. We have social media now. So you got an artist named Jim Jones. He got his own he got his own podcast now. In his first episode, he invited an artist to speak with or interview or chop it up with altogether. This artist's name is Fivio Foreign. Now, Jim Jones is from New York. Fivio Foreign is from New York too. Jim Jones, born in the Bronx, but claims Harlem, and Fivio's from Brooklyn. So it's a New York kind of thing going on, right? And they're talking about, well, it was brought up by Fivio about the legend himself, Nazir Jones, man, the legend. And Fivio mentioned that he couldn't. He told Jim Jones he couldn't tell him or anyone about a song from Nas. Like he said something to that effect, like I don't know anything from a Nas. I don't know any songs from Nas, and that he likes one of his songs called One Mic. But outside of that, he couldn't tell you a Nas song, right? He even went as so far to say that he thinks Nas is a legend and that he's cool and that he did a song with Nas on Nas's album that ended up winning a Grammy. The way he even mentioned that, it's like he downplayed that accomplishment as if it was mediocre. Oh yeah, I got a song with Nas. I got a song with him on his album, that ended up winning a Grammy. But anyway, one of those sideways slap in your face type fake compliment, not even a compliment. It was just emphatically disrespectful. And what I could say about that is this, right? Musicians, from what I've learned in my short life, musicians, when they become popular and they create music and the music touches and hits the Billboard charts, right? And they become household names, right? And then now you have these annual moments and events to recognize their greatness, right? You have the biggest, the largest, the most recognizable event and function that a musician can participate in called the Grammys, right? And when you have an artist just being nominated for a Grammy is a big deal, let alone winning the Grammy. This dude says he did a song with Nas, who he thinks is a legend, downplays it, doesn't even emphasize how serious and important of an accomplishment that is, just downplays it, and says that the album ended up doing a Grammy. Like, oh yeah, that's just regular. How many Grammys does Fivio Foreign have? You understand? How many Grammys does the man he's talking to have about not knowing any songs from Nas? How many Grammys does Jim Jones have? But you're gonna downplay the legacy of somebody who inspired so many people across the world as if it's just nothing even worth talking about or respecting or giving any value and shine. This is just it's all around nasty work. All around nasty work. You see, drugs, I'll tell you, man. You want to talk about a destructive element? A destructive element. People, you listening to this person talk, Fabio Foreign, and you could tell the man is just, first of all, he just came out of the clink, fresh out. They say he was incarcerated. I don't know why, and I don't even care to even really find out. But he was incarcerated, just got released, and you're on the show here, and you're taking an opportunity to really build on social media on a new platform, on a new podcast, instead of like seizing the moment and talking about, big things that you want to do. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't listen to the podcast, so go check it out if you want. I don't know. But this blemish that he put on his reputation, it's not gonna help. Maybe it is, maybe it won't. Who knows? He had a run, you know. He had a run. He had a little buzz. I don't listen to his music like that because that's just not my cup of tea. Doesn't mean that doesn't mean that he didn't do a song with Kanye West. Doesn't mean that he didn't have the airwaves buzzing. The airwaves buzzing a couple summers back, right? Doesn't mean that people don't recognize him as a talent. Doesn't mean that even Nas, right, did ignored his potential. Nas had him on his own record, King's Disease. On one hand, Jim Jones likes to talk about the youth and how the young people appreciate his music is because I see sometimes Jim, like, as tapped in as he is to the culture, the clothes that he wears, it's almost like it goes against his age in a sense because he's still you're doing interviews and you got half your jacket off your sleeve, off your shoulder, and the other one on you. It's just pushing 50. I could understand you tapped in with the youth, but supposed to guide. So that's why you have a situation where you got a young artist or borderline young. Fivio's in his mid-30s. He doesn't know one Nas song except one mic. What you got on his record, you could know his song, that at least the song you performed on. It's a little bizarre. It's a little bizarre. 35 years old or so, mid 30s, and you don't know one Nasir Jones, nothing. This man has been making music for over 3 decades, and not just any type, groundbreaking, revolutionary. Like he's on some people top five dead or alive lists, best MCs ever touched the planet. But that's me. That's me. And the man proceeded. Yeah, man, Fivio proceeded to talk about after Jim asked him who influenced him, who influenced Fivio to pick up a pen and start rapping. Fivio opened his mouth and said, Chief Keef was his influence, and somebody else too, but he mentioned Chief Keef and said that he was infatuated. He couldn't even say infatuated right. He was infatuated with Chief Keef. And Fabio is like 6 years old, 6 years older than Chief Keef. And when he heard Chief Keef was about 16 years old, 15, 16 years old. So at 21 years old, you have a young artist that you hear that becomes your source of extreme inspiration to where it becomes an infatuation. Chief Keef from Chicago became a sort of like an overnight sensation on the internet. Overnight sensation. And the difference between Chief Keef and the likes of Fabio Foreign and his peers and his generation. Chief Keef sort of like, not even sort of, he kept himself away from jail. He kept himself away from the penitentiary. He kept himself away from the cemetery. Unlike so many of his peers from his native hometown. Forget about everywhere else. Forget about everywhere else. But you're going to downplay Nas, who in his collection of work, I mean, if you want to be a student of hip hop, you want to be, you call yourself a student of hip hop, you appreciate hip hop because of positive messages and things like that. You cannot take anything away from his discography of lessons. So many classic material, classic music and album. He has an anthology. Pick so many songs where you just listening to them and it's nothing but messages, uplifting messages, identifying crazy things that's happened in life, social ills, problems, difficulty, trials and tribulations, and how people have succumbed to the ills and how people have arisen. But you're going to downplay that and choose to be ignorant. And another thing too, it's like these teams, these artists act as if they can do things on their own when you can't do everything by yourself. Where's your representation? Where's your team of individuals that could just pull your coat and say, hey, I think you made a mistake saying that. Maybe you should say this next time. If you're going to go somewhere to speak, are you prepared to speak? Are you sober? Are you of clear mind? Because you could tell this man abused so many, substances allegedly. He looked like he's just fried, not even speaking in a way where things make sense. It's one of those things where, again, people are choosing narcotics versus anything stimulating their intellectual capacity. And an artist at that too. An artist is supposed to be an engine, a vehicle, a vessel to express unbridled creativity. And you're going to disrespect an elder, disrespect a forefather, someone who laid down the tracks, laid down the foundation, or added to a foundation that inspired so many, an untold amount of people in front of another person who seems like they're jealous, and that's Jim Jones. Like, dude, I don't know, man. The competition level in New York. This is why, like, as far as hip hop in New York, it's always been dog eat dog. It's always been disunity. It's always been this aspect of separation. I'm better than you. We understand the competitive nature, but the entire New York is just fragmented. It's just like in crypto. You got communities, you got groups of people that just don't deal with each other, period, at all. And that's just, it's deeper than what's on the surface. Runs for decades, generations. I don't F with you, you don't F with me, F you, and you live right across the street from each other. And that's why you see other examples throughout the region and throughout the world. But let's keep it in the U.S. throughout the region, where you have different pockets or parts of the country where they show you there's unification. They show you the South could be unified, not only unified but unified and successful for decades, to the point where everybody in the Northeast had to wake up. And it's either you stay true to who you are, which is nothing wrong with that, or now start to try to like collaborate and do some down south music or whatever it is to remain relevant. There's a lot of people that use the music as a way out because they don't have a way out. You know, at least they do. They just don't choose to have a way out. I see y'all. I see y'all. Gandhi in the building. Always first, or more often than not, he's first. He says, "Hate me now." Yeah, man. You know, classics, man. All around the world, you know, classic material. You can hate me now. If I rule the world, even just the albums, you know, albums with like 20 albums or so. And then I'm just saying this off the top. This massive amount. Even MJ, look at MJ in the building, man. He says, you know, he knows Nas. Yeah, just and MJ younger than you know. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Shout out to y'all. Hope y'all feeling good. Hope y'all doing well. Just wanted to talk about that, man. It's going through in a certain sector of YouTube. Just came across my timeline. I had to talk about it because that's not that's not something that just sat well with me and I could just ignore. And it's just like a it's a testament to what's going on. Like a certain fabric, it seemed like a certain generation, a certain subset of the young generation is just disconnected, disconnected, and not just because they don't know anything about Nas. It's not about that. It's a broader implication, much broader, much broader. Like, and I don't know. Like, it's not about a blaming game either. But I think the older generation might have. I mean, who you got to be reared by somebody, even if it's from the streets. You got to be reared. If you don't have any type of social or familial support, you got to be reared by somebody, even if it's by wolves. You know, I mean, we run through the streets to get protection, to be accepted, to get love, and these things, and even if you grew up in a household, okay, sure, what is your environment like? What, right, your upbringing? What are your values? What does your culture help you know uh, 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 mold you to become? Like what? I don't know, man. I think it's like a chain, like a domino effect. If your parental guidance has been not the best, if you haven't had the best parental guidance, right? Like structure, foundation, you're gonna be out here moving reckless. You know what I mean? Like I was just telling somebody who I care about deeply the other day. I know a few people. I know a few people live right now. Let's say four of them, four different individuals, different walks of life. They they complain about life. Anytime you see them, anytime you communicate with them, they are complaining about life. Anytime, every time. There's not one moment or contact that you have with these people where they do not tell you about something that pissed them off, some type of struggle they're experiencing, right? I know four individuals like that right now, actively, right now. I'm giving you an example. What I noticed was the internal problems they have within themselves, internally, spills out. It spills out. Like whatever issues they're experiencing, they're struggling with, they're dealing with internally, they take it out. It comes out. They exhibit those bad feelings, that conflict. It shows through their actions, right? And I'm gonna give you an example of a tool that I see that they use to express their pain. I'm gonna show you this tool that I discovered, and it just happened like this week. They all have cars, all four of them. They all have cars. Each of them are having a struggle. Each of them are experiencing some kind of pain, some kind of hurt, some problem. Each of them drive, but check this out. One of them who drives, Just got. Well, I'm gonna wait for this train to pass. So the first one, the first one out of the four who drives just discovered. Well, it came to my attention that they were driving a car, knowing that they had a suspended license. Right? That's one. The second one, driving a car. They borrowed money from a friend that gave them money to purchase a car. They got the car. They plaster on social media. They plaster on social media that they got assaulted by a band of individuals, slammed to the ground. It's a lady now. Slammed to the ground, pummeled, attacked, robbed, car stolen. And this was plastered over social media, right? The third individual, in their waking lives, because they've since moved on, passed away, the third individual allowed the registration and insurance to lapse 2 years ago. Allowed the registration and insurance to lapse. Now, when that happens, you can't be you. It's clipped for you. It's clipped. Like you're not supposed to be doing anything behind any wheel or that those set of wheels. I should say it's clipped. Also had DWI charges, etc., etc. The fourth person, something happened also where they lent the car out or some issue that they got caught doing something with some kind of moving violation. They allowed tickets to pass. They crossed a bridge with fake plates. Let me tell you something. All four, all four. When you hear them speak, they're either in physical pain, the world sucks, they got fired from their job, problems at home. There's some kind of conflict going on. Some kind of conflict. And they display that imbalance on the road. And if they're not on the road, the train. And if they're not on the road, there's something that's taking place that causes them to become irresponsible and reckless. You're a 45-year-old individual. What are you doing driving a car knowing damn well your license has been suspended for years? Hmm? You're living a life of complete, absolute reckless and abandonment, like chaos, and then crying, complaining, real crying, not no foolishness about the giving tree, but real like complaining about why certain things ain't moving or materializing a certain way. Well, you wilding. Another one, same thing. Oh, accident. Oh yeah, and the fourth one. In addition to the fourth one, driving with bad plates, you complain about having all kinds of hardship person scamming left and right. Like you crash into you manufacture, you create a fake accident just so that you could get paid insurance. You don't get an insurance lick. But the quality of life these people live is so severely underwhelming and poor. And I'm not talking about just financially poor. I'm talking about psychologically and mentally. Like the issues they have, the issues they have cause them to display their unhappiness, their discomfort, their pain, their hurt, whatever they're experiencing onto the world. And they all happen to have vehicles. So it just led me to see, like, yo, a lot of these people that you see on the road rage, that didn't just get triggered just because someone cut them off on the street. They live with that. They live with that in their person. They live with that in their body. They live with that in their system, right? That's why some of these people they can't handle certain things, man. It's just an observation I made. I'm not saying it's that. I'm not saying that's just a sum total, but I'm thinking to myself, yo, nah, man. There got to be a correlation to all that. There has to be a correlation. There got to be a correlation because I know I'm a man of a certain age. So when I'm behind the wheels, I'm not playing games. I'm not doing something reckless and irresponsible. Another one I could tell you about. Another person, young person too, wilding in these streets like a fool, like a fool, idiot. 19 years old. You're not even. You just need to shut up and learn. Shut up and learn some game and soak up game from the elders, but they're absent. And if they're present, they don't care enough to teach this young person. 19 years old, right? You just got yourself a BMW. How you got it? Don't know. It matters to me in a way because you're 19. What are you doing that's affording you the opportunity, right? To push an expensive vehicle like that. But I keep it moving. You get your BM. Now you want to wow the young ladies in your neighborhood. You want to, treat treat them out, like take them out and go riding in your new expensive luxury vehicle, BMW 19. You finally pick up somebody that you knew and you guys go on a night out. Yeah. But this is where the reckless element comes in. Not even 30 minutes in the ride. Don't ask me how I know this. Not even 30 minutes in the ride. It's raining outside, right? So you already know it's nighttime, right? So you already know. He tells the girl, listen, let's stop at convenience store. Over here is a 7-Eleven, you know? Stop at a 7-Eleven. What do you go do? Get some drinks, not soda, some drinks, alcohol, right? 19. Okay. You're getting your alcohol. You're getting for yourself and the girl you with. Oh, okay. Now they want to just instead of just because he was talking about riding, taking her around. Well, now they're drinking and they got some herb to roll and smoke. Instead of playing the staying in the vehicle, they're gonna go to the motel. Oh yeah, spend a couple hours in the motel, do what people do in the motels. Finally, time to leave. You leave and it's still raining outside, right? Continues to drink. You get behind the wheel. You don't put the seatbelt on. The girl puts the seatbelt on and is asking to go home. But the driver is faded. The driver is faded. Hmm? They start driving. Girls maybe 15 minutes away from the house. They start driving away from the motel, headed back to her house. No sooner than maybe like they didn't even last 3 minutes on the road. Dude starts speeding because he got to test. He's testing the power, the horsepower of his new BMW, and he's got to show off in front of his date. He's testing the horsepower of the BMW while it's raining outside at night. He races a few blocks until maybe three, four blocks until he passes the fourth block. After he's going to the fifth block, he doesn't notice, but there's an unmarked vehicle that he crossed. There was this unmarked vehicle just sitting there in the cut, lights off. But they saw him speed. They turned their lights on and start following dude, right? The girl in the passenger is like, "Yo, what are you speeding for? What are you doing this for?" He's like, "No, I got this. Don't worry, I got this." But he looks in the rear view and he sees he's being followed, but it's from an unmarked joint, so he's not sure. But he sees he's being followed. He calls himself trying to lose them in the rain while he's intoxicated. No seatbelt, but she got her seatbelt on. The boys veer off. They notice that he sped up. They see that the situation is a little crazy. When I say the boys, I'm talking about the cops. They slow down so that he can calm down and stop racing because they know this thing is it could be a bad situation. So they slow down. Dude keeps going, keeps speeding. While he's in the car, the girl is like, "Yo, why you keep speeding? Why you keep speeding?" She's not turning though. He sees what's going on in the mirror. He's not saying nothing. Oh, well, he's not saying that he's being followed. What he told her was, "Yo, I don't know what I'm doing. You got your hands on the wheels, your feet on the pedal in your brand new car. You speeding at night while it's raining outside. You got Shorty in the passenger seat asking you, why are you speeding?" He goes, "I don't know what I'm doing." Approaching a turn. While he's approaching a turn, the cops already kind of slowed down, but they didn't really stop following him. They just gave him a few, sort of like some heads up, some space, some I don't know, a few meters ahead. Dude's approaching a turn. He's approaching a turn while he was already speeding. He's now the road turns is turning now. It's no longer straight, so it's turning. And as it's turning, he loses control and they crash into a building and a light pole. You know, fire people had to come through and use the machines to cut, cut through the car to pull. First, they pull him out, no problem. How about that? He didn't go through the windshield. They pull him out, no problem. Slammed him on the ground. He's screaming, telling the people because they're asking about old girl. They're asking about the girl. Girl not responding. They're asking about the girl. They're like, man, wake up, man. She's not talking. He's telling the car, "Oh, she all right." I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. That's the end of that. Like as far as that, I'm not. It's just you know what I'm saying. Like I didn't even think I was gonna bring this up. The point of the whole situation is because it ended bad. Um, Another reckless young person who had no guidance, young dumb motherfucker who had no guidance. And from what I was told, he come from a good family, hardworking, hardworking family. Like they got, you know what I'm saying? Like they made a good living for themselves. You know, and the From what I was told, the vehicle he got was a gift that his parents gave to him. He was gifted that. So you come from decent stock, but still, they found their way to exercise their free will and act like they could make their own decisions, which is not an act because he did a very poor decision, a very poor decision, and made something happen that he can never take back. It is what it is. It is what it is, yo. Nasty work, you know? The fentanyl is still a problem. Don't get me started. In any case, people, thank you for rocking with me right now. I gotta go handle some BI. And I'm gonna talk to y'all later, man. Stay well, stay strong, be vigilant. And by the way, I'm gonna drop the link to the Gandiji.io. This noise, man. When they see I'm just building with the people, they just wanna just introduce a lot of noise pollution. Building with the folks, man. Gandiji.io. Go do your research and figure things out, folks. Figure things out. Go do your research. Click the link. I'm gonna put it in the description. All right. Take care, y'all. Peace.